Okay, J Fallon, and thanks for listening to the Slippery Slope. So it might seem that the last couple of days, the last week, last 2 weeks, maybe I've gotten myself into just a little bit of hot water when it comes to YouTube, Google, when it comes to the Slippery Slope in general.
Got my eyes straight ahead, got my head in the game. With the red light on, I'm just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low.
I can probably trace it back to when I started talking about former president of the Queensland Police Union, Ian Levers, who unfortunately passed away a little over a week ago. Now, I did do one episode just talking about this a little, and it went quite well. The episode went well. There was quite good feedback about it, but it wasn't really about much. Just talking about his passing, really. Uh, and then I spoke a bit more in depth about my own issues within coming from the Queensland Police. Also talking about Ian Levers because of the nature of his passing, and then a few other things. The way I'd felt let down by the Queensland Police Service and also the Queensland Police Union, and talking about issues that other officers also feel when you've gone through serving for the Queensland Police, and while you're serving for the Queensland Police, then maybe you're having issues with mental health issues such as PTSD. And the lack of support coming from the Queensland Police Service, also the Queensland Police Union, how you're, in my experience, you're just discarded, seemingly just thrown away. We see a lot of, I hear a lot of rhetoric, pointless rhetoric coming from the service, from the union, a lot of talk, not a lot of action. Anyway, so since then, I seem to have got myself in a bit of strife. So I did the second episode, and regarding my own issues with PTSD and also what's happened with Ian Levers. Uh, Someone's made a complaint, which was very a lot of legal wording, kind of some threats of possibly breaking the law and how possibly I could get myself in trouble. Um, yeah. Anyway, I've got my own thoughts on where this came from. I'd also been told about. Well, I'll bring up a post that had come through that someone else had sent, and I had seen for myself actually, and it's talking about the funeral coming up for Ian Levers. So obviously, this post came up saying Levo, as in Ian Levers, had left clear instructions that no commissioned officers are to attend his funeral. Also, no executive members of the QPUE, except for Shane Maxwell. So obviously, this post was put up on another website. A few people took exception to that post, uh, and there were denials coming around. Then this came out on the Australian the other day. So ex-police union boss Ian Levers banned successor Shane Pryor from his funeral in Final Wish after pay dispute. Former Queensland Police President Ian Levers has banned Shane Pryor from attending his funeral in explicit instructions left before his sudden death this week. I thought, okay, well, the Australian puts it out, even though we all knew this beforehand, and people have been talking about it. But the Australian puts it out, so now it's all right to speak about it. I also got myself into a little bit of strife when I was talking about Google's actions, and specifically Google's AI and its interactions with filmmaker Robbie Starbuck. So the episode that I did with that with Robbie Starbuck has received, I think, only about maybe 16 views, something like that. I'd received an email saying, "Oh, congratulations, we've reviewed your episode, and it's actually, we're actually able to it's actually suitable for advertisers," it said. I said, "Oh, I didn't know it had been flagged at all." A day later, I went to have a look at the episode, still has not received any views. And then I noticed it's actually still flagged as not suitable for advertisers. So I put in, a request to have it reviewed again. And then I think like a day later, it got taken down. It still only received about 16 views. Funny enough, because I also put up a short with that about that episode as well. It's only received a handful of views. The same short I put up on Instagram, and it's currently sitting at several thousand. I think over 3,000 and counting views for that same episode as on Instagram. But apparently with Google, no one wants to no one wants to see how Google and Google's AI have screwed over Robbie Starbuck and the legal action that he's taking. So yeah, I seem to have got myself into a bit of strife with that. And then with the union, got myself in a bit of strife with that. Not just the union, also maybe members or current members, former members, not so happy about. I don't think I said anything wrong about Ian Levers, but not so happy about some of the things that I did say. Sometimes I think that people just don't like to hear someone else expressing their own opinion, especially when that opinion is based on their own experience, because they just want to look at everything through rose-colored glasses. It's all good here. Let's not speak badly. I don't think I said anything bad about Ian Levers, but I did have a suggestion came up from one of the listeners, Pat Malone 3186. He says, "Hey Jay, here's an idea for an episode. Why don't you work out how many serving officers there are and then times it by $1,000, which is the yearly union fees, where you will get a rough number of $15 million and ask Shane Pryor to explain where that $15 million a year the union gets from its members goes, or where in the last 10 years alone the QPU has pocketed $150 million a year, where that's gone. Lots of coppers put it out there. Ask them if they have ever thought about it even." So, Pat Malone, I was talking to someone else, and the Simple Man, and he came up with this. This is the report for financial statement for the year ending 2022. This is actually when Ian Levers was still the president. So let's just have a look at this report and see. There's a few interesting things I think about this report. First thing, but before we go any further, this is the logo, the emblem here for the Queensland Police Union. Unity in strength. Seems very appropriate to talk about unity in strength, and maybe the lack of unity within the Queensland Police Union, and lack of unity with anyone who is left the union recently. As they say, there's nothing more X than an X. Now, I can't say, I'm not financial statements. They're a bit of a boring read, but check this out. So 2021, 2022, you've got cash at hand, cash at bank, cash on hand. 2022, 10,592,600. It's not a bad sum. Managed funds, 24 million, just over 24 million. Investment properties. I got to admit, I found this very interesting. I don't understand why a union has to have investment properties. I understand owning a property for, to run business or something, maybe having a second one, if you've got to fly around, you've got somewhere to stay or something like that. But investment properties, so they've got a number of these properties. So this was, like I said, 2022, Unit 43 in Didsbury Street, Unit 344 in Aurora Tower, there in Brisbane City area, 50 Perkins Street in Townsville, 1,050,000. 301.1 Da Vinci Business Park over near the airport. That's a very interesting area. Unit 44, Park Regis, Brisbane. But why does a union need this amount of properties, this amount of investment properties? And to have all that money tied up in investment properties, I was always of the opinion or of the understanding that a union, if you receive, they're receiving like 12 million, whatever, 12, 13, 14 million dollars in every year, you would pay all your expenses, you'd pay your staff and all that, and then all the rest of the money, everything else every year would go on supporting staff, supporting all your members. I don't understand why a union needs investment properties and how this helps support members. You've got all these members who are struggling. It's easy within the Queensland Police Service, throw a marble, hit a copper, you've more than likely got someone who was extremely stressed, suffering, or at the beginnings of suffering from PTSD. So why aren't you putting all your funding, all your money into coordinating with the Queensland Police Service and getting things off the ground for supporting officers who are struggling with mental health issues? Why do we have police officers who are who are taking their own lives every year, because they're not feeling supported? And yet you've got investment properties, you've got all this cash lying around that you could be using to help support officers who are struggling with mental health issues. Doesn't really make sense. So you've got all of these investment properties and what they're worth. Again, let's look at the revenue and other income. This is 21, 22. So the revenue, what is that? 11 million, just under 12 million. In 21, you had 13 million. I'd say that might be because of all the people that had left throughout that period, but still just under 12 million for that year of 2022. Net fair value. So you've still got total revenue and other income of just under 10 million there, 9,707,000. Your expenses, total depreciation on property, plant, 228,000. Wages and salary, employee benefits and expenses. This is what I found very surprising, that the union, I don't know how many people, I couldn't find how many people are actually employed by the union, but their wages and salary for their staff at the union is well over $3 million. How many people are on staff there? That seems excessively high. So total employee benefits are just over 4 million. That's massive. Then you've got your cash at hand, 22. You had $10.5 million. Financial assets at fair value, shares, 12 million, 11 million. So managed funds, in all, you've got 24 million, over 24 million. Going down to page 52 of this report, number of members. It says the reporting unit had 12,177 members as at 31 December 2022. Number of employees, the reporting unit had 0 employees as at 31 December 2022. Surely that's not talking about employees of the union, is it? When you've got a $4 million bill. So then down on page 53, you have the names of the committee of management members and the period positions held during the financial year. So you've got the list going all the way from leavers and prior, all the way down their positions here. And that's the end of the report. Look, it bothers me that the Queensland Police Union has so much money coming through its coffers, so much money coming through its bank, and so much money on hand, all squirreled away, and they've got all these investment properties, and yet, they don't seem to be able to support their members better than what they can. You've got so many members paying their union fees every year and struggling with mental health issues, struggling with the bullying coming from within Queensland Police Service, getting bullied by officers, getting bullied by, when I say officers, I mean like, inspectors and up, getting bullied by them, the leadership, getting bullied by other officers. So many police struggling with PTSD. So many police every year has been reported who have taken their own lives. And yet the Queensland Police Union hasn't been able to put infrastructure in place to better support its members, both current and former members. What's the go with that? If you're bringing in, 12 to 15 million a year, and you've got enough money to get investment properties and have whatever $10 million or something squirreled away in your bank accounts, and pay staff have a staff bill of over $4 million, why aren't you able to do a better job, Shane Pryor? Okay, put it this way. Could you do a better job at supporting current members and also former members who are suffering with PTSD and other health issues because of the nature of the job that they've done? Could you? Do you think you could do a better job? Do do police officers out there think it's necessary for a police union to have various investment properties and to have so many millions of dollars on hand uh, when it could be better spent? Do you think it could be better spent serving its members, helping its members through hard times, helping its members who are struggling with mental health? Could this money be put to better use? I'm surprised that members of the Queensland Police Union aren't asking more questions about the finances, about where the money's going, about why the union has so much money on hand, so much money left in its coffers, about why they seem to struggle with supporting officers who are struggling with mental health issues, struggling with PTSD, struggling to support families after officers have taken their own lives. Why is it that support seems so minimal, and yet looking at the finances of the Queensland Police Union, there's so much money there, so much money coming through investment properties. Woo! Anyway, this is all my opinion. Like I said, I've already got myself into a lot of trouble, it seems, in the last couple of weeks anyway. So let's see how this all pans out. My name's J Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel the desire that will take me higher.